You're listening to Dream Culture by Ken McLeod of Incompetech.com, link in the description. Good evening everybody there, Steve Jones 313 here, thanks for tuning in and welcome to episode 3 of Just Wondering. You join me at 1:30 in the morning of the 17th of October 2015. Oh boy, well it's been about a week since the last episode, and the first episode was an hour, 50 odd minutes. The second episode was half an hour, and that seemed to do a little bit better. So this episode, I am aiming for a max of 45 minutes. So just to give you an idea of the absolute longest this can run is 45 minutes. So we'll see how this one goes. Now, for those of you who have never heard Just Wondering before, it is my own personal podcast where I talk about pretty much whatever I like. I am the only person on the show. There's no local one, no hedgy brick. My phone will interrupt every now and then. Let's see who's interrupting me today, shall we? I have a text message from my old work friend, Lewis Knowles, who was texting me about the song cover I just posted, which is Within Temptation's Sinead, which you guys can check out at youtube.com. The link of that will be in the description there. So, as I was saying, this is a personal podcast where I discuss pretty much anything that's on my mind. And, just essentially, it's basically a therapy session disguised as a podcast. So, what we're going to talk about tonight? Well, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's been a week since the last episode. And by the way, you'll be hearing my squeaky chair quite a lot. It's been a bit of a rough week, not gonna lie. A good friend of mine from work, Sean, is no longer working for the same company as me. He has departed for reasons. He's a really, really good guy. I'm going to miss working with him. This team I've become very, very close to, and I've tried opening up to a bit, and Sean was the guy who made the first real attempt at befriending me at that job, and the fact that he's not going to be there is a bit of a blow. I actually had to handle some of his callbacks on Thursday. He had some callbacks arranged for some of the customers, and I had to call those customers back, and it felt really weird. They had asked why Sean wasn't calling them, and I had to say, unfortunately, he's no longer with the business, and it kind of struck a chord with me, because Sean didn't leave because he was crap at his job or anything like that at all. Just, it was an unfortunate set of circumstances, which, he couldn't do anything about. Any company in the universe would be glad to have him. I swear to God, he is such a dedicated, intelligent, hard-working guy, and I sincerely wish the absolute best for him. The great thing is he has his own radio show every Monday. If I could get some kind of a link, I'll certainly share it with you. He broadcasts every Monday, 7 PM GMT, 2 PM EST. But, yeah, and I've also been dealing with a lot of anxiety this week, and a lot of fear, irrational fear, and a couple of nights ago I got myself really, really, really worked up over a call that I'd taken at work of a guy who had done something that no other person on a phone has ever been able to do. This man was able to bully me. This guy was, and I'm not going to give any details at all about what the call was about what the business is, or anything like that. That's, I will never, ever, ever, ever reveal work information in public. That's not how I roll. I will talk about things in euphemistic terms, or I will be generic, but I will never go into specifics, because I respect my workplace too much for that. And if anyone's ever wondering, I've never received official instructions from the company I work for on how to handle my podcasts. So this is purely coming from me, saying that I do respect where I work, and so any time I talk about work is going to be in very generic terms or euphemistic. But this person I was speaking to on the phone had managed to intimidate me and had managed to essentially bully me. And by the end of the call, I was eating out of the palm of his hand. I was, his whipping boy. I was going back and forth and pretty much doing everything he wanted me to do. I pretty much caved in. There was one area where I defended myself, but apart from that, I was essentially his bitch. And it had been racking my brain ever since. It was eating me up inside. They really, really eating me up because I don't know how it happened. Over the phone, no one has ever been able to intimidate me before, and I've had everything under the sun. When I used to work for the Inland Revenue, I got bomb threat calls, just like pretty much everybody else did. That's just the way it worked. But this guy, he didn't threaten me. He didn't. He wasn't a swearing, shouty person, but he was in such control of the call. He was a mastermind at it, and he managed to beat me. Now, dear peeps, and yes, I call you guys my peeps. I'm sorry, I'm from the 80s, but peeps, I don't mind telling you that no motherfucker has ever intimidated me over the fucking phone before. You cannot intimidate me over the phone, or so I thought, until I spoke to this guy. It had me thinking, what did he do so different to anybody else? And then it struck me. He was ready, and he was far more prepared than I was. You see, I was polite and courteous and proper because 1, I'm a professional, and 2, I believe in respect, and 3, I've been doing customer service since I was 16. I consider myself pretty fucking good at it. I will never, ever raise my voice to a customer. I will never, ever fight a customer, but you will bet your fucking bottom dollar that I'll debate the motherfucker. But this guy, he was professional, but without any business restraints. This guy could do whatever he wanted. He chose to be professional, and he chose to handle himself in such a way that pretty much everything he said seemed completely reasonable. And I realised in retrospect that the one thing I lacked was an appropriate argument back. So he would say something, and I didn't have an argument for it, because everything he said seemed so reasonable. And this is how you win an argument. The thing is, you don't win an argument by being right. Being right is happenstance in an argument, whether you like it or not. That is the very sad truth, because the truth of the matter is, it's not the person who's right who wins an argument. It's the person who best argues their case. That's simply the way it is, whether we like it or not. I've had so many arguments in the past where it turned out that I was wrong. But because I'm really good at this, I came out the other end looking like the winner. At the same time, there have been many an argument where I've been absolutely right, and I've walked away thinking I'm a fucking moron. It's because it's all about how good are you in the debate. So it forced me to kind of think about my style and how I approach. And I noticed a real big difference. When I walk through the doors of a job, regardless of what job I'm in, I go into a professional mode, my reasoning changes. All of a sudden, there I am going, I want to do everything I can for a customer. And I will make this promise to any of you guys. If you come through to a business to speak to a customer service representative, and I'm the representative you're talking to, you can bet that I'm going to give you the absolute best service I possibly can. Because again, I've been doing customer services since I was 16. I believe in this. You know, this is what I do. You know, I've been doing this for so long. I've studied communication, I've studied psychology, I've studied all this, and I'm really, really, really good at this. So when you come in to a business, or you pick up the phone and contact a business that I happen to work for, and I'm your representative for the day, I'm going to give you absolutely everything I'm capable of doing. I don't care how much of a bad mood I'm in, it gets left at the door. And when a new customer comes through, they become the biggest priority of the day. And once that customer's done, and the next one comes, they are the biggest priority of the day. Here's the thing. I give everybody the same level of customer service, because everybody deserves the best customer service. That notwithstanding, sometimes you deal with assholes. And when you deal with assholes, it can get tricky. Now normally, I'm able to combat that by just being professional and polite. I don't take everything they've got at me, but there's some rules I follow. First of all, and there are some things that I would recommend other customer service agents. First of all, if a customer is swearing, ask yourself, are they swearing in general, or are they swearing at you? Two very important distinctions here. For some people, swearing is a natural language. Me, for example. Swearing is part of my vocabulary. And never ever make the mistake of assuming that someone who swears a lot is an idiot. That is a myth perpetrated by morons. Swearing is not evidence of a feeble mind. How one chooses to swear is. It is the same logic to the application of any word. But swearing does not denote a lack of intelligence. Neither does it, indicate a lack of vocabulary. Anyone who thinks that swearing means that you have a smaller vocabulary does not understand how language works. But it's an important question. Are they swearing, or are they swearing at you? For example, well, I tell you what, I'm just absolutely fucking sick to death of, the stuff that goes on at the moment. I mean, I'm not having to go at you, mate, but the truth is, I'm just so pissed off with the way things are, and now that guy, in that example, is swearing, but not at you. He's describing his circumstances. He's explaining how frustrating everything is for him. Not only is he annoyed, he's fucking pissed off. Believe me, this is actually a good thing. Not the fact that he's pissed off, but the way he's saying it. Because what he's telling you is exactly what you need to know. How annoyed is he? Because this gives you a very important piece of information. His tolerance level. How a person chooses to describe how annoyed they are is a huge giveaway to just how much they will tolerate and how much patience they have. Okay? It's very important you gauge this early on, because it will help you immeasurably when trying to help a person out and to reassure them. So when a person is swearing at you, well, examples of this are fairly obvious, so I don't need to give any, but when a person is swearing at you, i.e. the foul language is directed to you, then each company has their own policy. In most companies I've worked for, the policy, if it's a contact center, you get one warning, terminate the call. Some companies have more than one. In retail, my response is to basically put my hand up and go, look, I'm more than happy to help you, that's what I want to do today, but I'm asking you, do not swear at me. Simple. If they refuse, security. But remember that customer services isn't just about providing a service or product. Customer services involves three things. It involves fixing a problem, answering a demand, or providing reassurance. And people forget the last one. The last one is really, really important. Selling things is one thing. Somebody wants to book a hotel room, somebody wants to buy a helicopter, somebody wants to order an engineer, somebody wants to, rent a car. Whatever it is, it's a simple, straightforward thing. Supply, demand. You are answering a demand. Service. I need, I would like somebody to come to my house to clean my house while I'm at work. I would like somebody to babysit my kids. I would like to go to a hospital and get healed up. I'd like to speak to a police officer to report a crime. These are all elements of service. You're not purchasing a product, rather you are engaging in a service. But then there's reassurance. And reassurance is a part of everything. A lot of customers are looking to be reassured in their transactions and in their engagements with a business. They have chosen to come to you. You are the one that's going to solve their problem. You're the one that's going to take care of them. You need to remind them of that. It's really essential that you do that. It is very much a true thing that when a customer is talking to you, you need to reassure them that they are through to the right person or the right company, and that they're going to do the right thing by them. But then there's a flip side of the coin. Customers. Now, all y'all have been a customer at some point, and I'm going to tell you now, at least one of you listening has been a dick to a customer service agent at least once in your life. So I'm just going to explain a couple of quick rules about being a customer. And yes, there are rules. By God, my floorboards are creaky as fuck. But oh well. Rule number 1, and you all know this is coming. The customer is not always right. I do not care from which cereal box you are getting your legal information. You are not always right. For example, an example from a store I worked in a couple of years ago. Customer came in with a product that technically we do sell, as do many other chains and other market leaders at the time, and she was adamant that she had bought it from one of our stores and wanted to return it despite not having the receipt. I explained that without a receipt there was no way to prove she bought it from us. She said it was our legal obligation. Let me explain to you something about legal obligation. If you change your mind about a product, you are at the mercy of the provider. That's the way it works. This is, by the way, UK advice. I can't speak for America, Canada, Australia, anywhere that isn't the United Kingdom. Although I can't really speak for Ireland either, because I don't know Irish laws, but never mind. But in the UK, and you really need to read up on your laws, okay? But in the UK, if a product is damaged, broken or not as advertised, and you weren't pre-warned, then you have a case. Then you have a right to, get, your money back or stuff like that. It's an important distinction. A big example of this is in Argos. Anything that has a removable hard drive, So, i.e., anything that has removable memory, such as an iPad or memory card, stuff like that, is exempt from their 16-day money-back guarantee. So, Argos have the 16-day money-back guarantee, where if you want to change your mind about a product, if you bring it back in its original condition and within 16 days, boom, you get your money back. No questions asked. Devices not included in this are things with the removable memory. The reason being, so legend says, is that they got took a memory card back from a customer, but there were some rather disturbing photos on that. That's the legend anyway. It may not necessarily be true. But for whatever, that was the story when I was there. But despite that, in spite of that, the fact is, if it has an editable memory, it is exempt for the 60-day money-back guarantee. There were many times I had people come in wanting to exchange the item because they changed their mind. And when I told them it's exempt for the 60-day money-back guarantee, they would always turn around and say, "I know my rights." Well, I'm afraid you don't. So, learn your rights, because you are not always right. And another big lesson: do not assume that the customer service agent doesn't want to help you. It may transpire that the person you're talking to is a dick. It's certainly possible. Not all of those customer service agents are nice people. Some of us are dicks. Some of us are also having bad days. So, if you're being treated, let's say, in a less than fair manner, here's a good trick. Ask the agent if they're okay. So if they seem a bit snippy or whatever, just say, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but are you okay?" You have no idea how powerful this could be. I had a customer ask me that once, and the truth was I wasn't having a great day. It was actually the anniversary of my friend Matt's passing. And I hadn't realised, but I was sounding miserable. I wasn't rude, I was still polite, but it sounded unenthused, and so the customer said, "So I don't mean to pry, are you okay?" I said, yeah, why'd you ask? You sound really, really down." "Oh, it's it's an anniversary of a passing, it's just one of my closest friends, I mean that." "Oh, well, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay to handle this?" "Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, it's just hard at this time of year, it's really hard." "Oh, yeah, I completely get it, don't, but, I just, you just gotta do your best. You just take your time and we'll get this sorted out." "Well, Mrs. Customer, that was really kind of you. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to get this sorted out for you. If you just bear with me a quick moment, just to look at some stuff." That actually happened. I won't tell you which company I was in at the time. It wasn't this one. But that actually happened. The power. And here's the thing, I've done it to other people. I spoke to a company who I'm not going to name, but I had a bit of an issue financially with them, where basically they said I owed them money and I know I didn't. In the end, I was proven right. But the last of the phone was a bit snippy and a bit, harsh. So I went, "I hope you don't mind me asking, love, but are you okay?" She goes, "Oh, why'd you ask?" I said, "No, you just sound a little stern, a little short there. I just want to make sure you're alright. Just hoping you're not getting too stressed out or anything like that, And jobs like yours can be really, really busy, so I completely appreciate that. But I just want to make sure you're okay." And she went, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm alright. It's just, late finishes, early starts. It's just really getting me." It's like, "Alright. So you really burned the candle at both ends then?" "Oh, yeah, it's just really been busy." "Well, just take your time. I'm sure you will get to the answer there, So, but, yeah, I say you just sounded down. Just want to make sure you're alright, I know you probably get customers shout at you. I don't want to be one of those customers, I'd rather just, you and me get there together." Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, I'm sorry if I was short with you." No, don't worry about it, alright? Clearly, No one's asked you how you're feeling, so I thought I would, and, I just hope you get through the rest of the shift, get some well-deserved time off. And you know what? It took her about 2 minutes after that conversation to fix my problem. Showing the agent that you care is a huge way to get them on your side. Now, that's not to say that we don't want to help you to begin with, but if you've got somebody over the phone that is snippy, it might be because their day is getting worse and worse. You gotta remember, we're human too, and we suffer from a lot of stuff. Customers don't know that I'm bipolar, have borderline personality disorder, have IED, have paranoia, have IBS, have all these things. They don't know about the survivor's guilt and the potential PTSD. They don't know about all this stuff, and they're not going to ask you for it. But here's the thing: if you're a customer and the person you're talking to is like, about that, ask them. Don't be afraid to ask them. And if they turn out that they're just being dickheads, then they're being dickheads. And you're right to be pissed, and you are right to do something about it. But ask the question first. The last thing I would advise a customer, before I move away from this topic completely, whilst the agent is the voice of the company, whether it's the guy in the shop trying to sell you some shoes, or whether it's the girl on the other end of the phone answering your call, they don't make the rules. And a lot of rules that they follow are set in law. There are going to be times when you want an agent or an advisor to do something and they will not be able to, and it will be for a legal reason. The biggest one I always come across is data protection. If an agent says they cannot do something, you have every right to ask why. But if they tell you it's for a legal reason, then their hands are tied. Whether you disagree with them or not, their hands are tied. They have been instructed that they simply cannot do something. Or if something is against company policy, and you tell them to break company policy for you, now in your mind you're probably thinking, well, I'm not asking them to do it for everyone, just me. That agent's job is now on the line because you're trying to get them to break a policy or a law. You cannot play God with people's jobs. It's unethical, it's immoral, and it's disgusting to even try. So if an agent tells you they cannot do something, the first thing you might want to do is speak to their manager. Well, sorry for the coughing. In some businesses, that's a good idea. But in a lot of businesses, especially in a contact center role, if you're calling a contact center, 9 out of 10 times the manager can do sweet fuck all. In fact, the manager will often tell the advisor, well, tell the customer that I can't say anything different to you. The manager is there to manage the staff. The manager is there to make sure calls are being answered, people aren't going over on breaks, and people are being trained. That is a manager's job. If you're not happy with a policy, clear my throat there. If you're not happy with a policy, your usual best bet is to make a formal complaint. Just remember, it's not the advisor's fault, unless the advisor's being a dick. But let's move away from this. So that was like about half an hour of customer service based topic. Oof. There goes all the viewers I once had. All 5 of them. So what we're going to talk about for the rest of the show here? Well, let's go back to emotions. Let's go back to stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety. Oh, yes. So I've definitely been having a lot of that this week. But at the same time, there have been some good things. Now, last week's episode, let's face it, both episodes have been fairly negative. There's been a lot of negativity about them because we talked about morale and stuff like that. So I want to focus on a little bit of positive here. So at work, I've been adopting a water-only drink diet there. So I won't drink fruit juices, I won't drink any carbonated drinks. Literally, the only thing I will drink is cold water at work. And I have to tell you guys, I feel fucking great for it. It feels fantastic to be able to stick to this diet at work. And then I come home and the only other drink I have are these fruit juices, pineapple juice and an apple and blackcurrant juice drink, both from Asda. Now they're alright, but the sugar content's high. I mean, let's have a look here. So this is a 1 litre bottle kind of thing, carton I suppose is the correct word. The amount of sugar in 100 milliliters of this is 11 grams. 11 grams of sugar with this. It's a 1 litre carton. So that's quite substantial. But yes. So they are quite high in sugar, but I was more worried about the carbonated style of things. Because what was worrying me, more than the sugars and stuff like that, were the gases. That carbon dioxide, that all those gases bubbling away inside me and making me ill. You know, fucking with all the stuff inside me. I wanted to get away, so I was moving on to, you know, the fruit juices and stuff. But after a fruit juice drink which has got less sugar in, I'd like a low sugar fruit juice. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? I'm feeling great. I'm feeling absolutely splendid since doing that stuff. In terms of, like, my skin feels clean, my hair feels good, I don't get clammy, I don't sweat as much when I'm playing ping pong. Now, some of these could very well easily be placebo effects, but if they work, I'm not going to knock it. But just drinking water, I've only been doing this for a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks at most. So in 2 weeks, just water, and this is where I'm at, just feeling pretty good about it all, and I'm glad for that. The next step is to get more active. This is going to be a harder problem for me because I am in fucking agony. I am in so much pain. And I think, honestly, I need to see a physiotherapist. Probably not the one I saw years ago, who's a fucking moron, but I need to see a physiotherapist nonetheless. The great thing is, I can get physiotherapist and claim it back on my private healthcare because I'm in a job now where it's one of the benefits. So that's something I'll be looking into. But I feel like I'm being held back by my physical injuries. You know, I want to, and so I'm moving stuff around. Do apologise, but I feel like I want to change and I want to get somewhere. But whilst I'm got these aches and pains, I'm always going to be limited to what I can do. But again, a lot of the problem could be my weight. You know, the pains in my joints, my ankles, my knees, my thighs, which I know are joints. Shut your face, I just meant another part of my body. But all these pains could also be like, well, Stephen, you're carrying a lot of weight around. I'm 270 pounds, I'm 5'5", and let me tell you now, I'm not built like a brick shit house. So, yeah, still some work to do. Still some work. So, what are my plans? Well, I'm working on something called the Self-Respect Project. Now, I've talked about this little bits of previous episodes and on other shows, but the Self-Respect Project is literally that. It is about teaching and advocating self-respect turning self-loathing into self-appreciation. It's about helping people who can't see the good in themselves to find the good in themselves. It started out as something just for me. In the very early days, I started posting Instagram posts and Tumblr posts titled Learning Self-Respect and then the day number. And I stopped doing them, not because I didn't want to do it, but because I wanted to expand. I was starting to think to myself, is this really helping me accomplish what I want to accomplish? The answer was no, it wasn't. So what can I do? So I'm working on this project with a good friend of mine, Resonance 21. And when it's all put together, I'm going to unleash the project. And it's going to start as a 30-day challenge. The reason being, a lot of scientists and psychologists estimate it takes 30 days of repeating an action or repeating an activity for it to become commonplace. It takes 30 days to change an inbuilt program. So, if I were to drink water for 30 days straight, my natural inclination would be to drink water. If for 30 days I got out of bed and put my socks on first and then my boxers, then after 30 days my natural inclination would be to repeat the same thing. We're going to try something similar, but we haven't got all the details ironed out just yet. But it's something we're working on. So, the reason why that's important to me is because I feel that whilst I can accomplish a lot as an individual, I can accomplish everything as part of a community. And I want to build a community of people dedicated to helping one another. Regardless of their background, regardless of their creed, their ethnicity, their gender, their sexuality, their name, what school they went to, how much money they've got. None of that shit. Just none of that matters in the grand scheme of things. In this, you don't have to be somebody special to do something special for somebody. You don't have to be rich to help people out. You don't have to be a religious person to help someone out. You don't have to be, a member of the elite. Because the truth is, every single group of person can make the arguments of why they're wrong the most. Black people, women, other ethnic minorities such as Asian, and Native American or Indian, but then you've got gay, bisexual, lesbian, pansexual, asexual, and you've got transgenders, and then so on and so forth. We could argue all day about who has it worse, but here's the fucking truth of the matter. The community I'm trying to build is one based upon helping one another, not who you are, where you came from, or what you are. I probably said that twice, but I don't care. That's what I want to achieve. It reminds me of a conversation I had, and I was telling this to my friend Rez and my fiance, Lonis Wolf. I remember me and my good friend Matt, who, as I mentioned previously, isn't with us anymore. God rest his soul. He and I were sitting on a roof. We're looking out at a starlight sky. And we were talking about growing up, and I asked him what he wanted to do when he was older, and he had a few plans. But to be honest with you, he didn't really know for certain. And then he asked me, and I remember I just replied, Matt, I just want to save the world. I remember he looked at me and he said to me, "You know what, Stephen, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you." So somewhere I like to think that Matt is looking down. He's saying to me, "Stephen, what do you want to do?" I just want to save the world. Even if it's only one person at a time. Thanks for listening, guys. Until next time.